Namaskar. Hello and welcome to PGurus channel. I'm your host Sree Iyer. Joining me today is 𝗤𝗏 𝗏𝗏 and the backdrop that I'm having, this is of Shanghai. In case you are wondering, Shanghai at night. Let's welcome 𝗤𝗏 𝗏𝗏. 𝗤𝗏 ji, namaskar and welcome to PGurus channel. How are you?
Jai Siya Ram, Radhe Radhe sir, all good and fine by your Ashirvad and Kripa of Lord Mahakal. Namaskaram to you and all the viewers across the world.
Thank you so much, 𝗤𝗏 ji. So first we start with Amir getting his, the proverbial four-letter word handed to him in a basket by China. And that's why I was mentioned that, I'm standing in front of the waterfront in Shanghai. So let's discuss a little bit about this. What led to this, 𝗤𝗏 ji?
Sure. We will take the name of Lord Sree Ganesha and do the Sree Ganesha of today's show. So the story starts as following. Look, failed Field Marshal 𝗤𝗏𝗏 Munir was summoned to China, and I have been tracking a lot of newspapers, a lot of agencies. They say he was dressed down. Dressed down is like really, really humiliated. You know that. I can't describe the words. How intriguing it can be. How bad it can be. So basically, he was summoned to China, and and let's forget when he was summoned to China. Summoned. I'm using the word summoned because he had a planned trip to Indonesia and Sri Lanka, which he cancelled. And it is the same trip, Sri sir, where he wanted, I want that cavalcade, I want that to book the entire 5-star hotel, I want to do a social trip, I want to meet the people. When he was trying to present himself as the super president of Pakistan, at that point of time, he had to cancel all those meetings, all that PR, all that money, the hard-earned money of Pakistani taxpayer is down the drain. And whereas failed Field Marshal was in Beijing. Beijing, he meets three people. He meets Wang Yi, he meets the deputy Chinese president, and he meets General Zhang, who's the deputy head of the Chinese Central Military Commission, next man to Xi in the military commission. These are the three people he met. So, the Pakistani media, those says, he was congratulated on being the field marshal, which I find mockery in itself. But anyway, I give them that benefit of doubt, so that to keep their humors high, to keep the humor high. Now, what is happening here is that when he reached Beijing, it is believed to be that what happened between him and the deputy president is not very clear. What happened between him and General Zhang is not very clear. But what happened between him and Wang Yi is very, very clear. And Wang Yi is the person who summoned him there. He was told clearly 2-3 things. He said, Mr. Munir, you are failing to deliver on whatever you promised to China. And there is a lot of loss to name, fame, and credibility which China has got. Now, there are 7 or 8 reasons which I'm going to list to you why this happened. The first reason is our investment on 𝗎𝗍𝗏 is gone. It's literally gaya. Second thing, when we do the ROI on 𝗎𝗏𝗏, there's practically no ROI. Point number 3, there was a talk that there was a flood in Pakistan and Pakistanis told Chinese, look, all the roads of 𝗎𝗏𝗏 got washed away. What the hell? All washed away. Point number 4, there is one crucial railway link which is very, very essential for 𝗎𝗏𝗏 and BRI. That was around $8.1 billion project. That was supposed to start around 9 months back. Pakistanis took the money, they have not started the link. Well, that's Pakistan for you. Point number 4. Point number 5, Munir, you are not able to protect our Chinese men on the job. That is a very big point of contention. And that is what we're going to elaborate a bit, but let me cover all the points first. Point number 7, China has got a loss of faith and faith. Lost of faith because you are not able to deliver on anything. Lost of faith because people are mocking us now. Because after you could not deliver 𝗎𝗏𝗏, that is lost of faith. But what is lost of faith? Lost of faith is after Operation Sindoor, our weapons are the talk of the town. Our weapons are being talked by everybody, and India and the world is laughing at us. West is laughing at us, and China and Taiwan is so emboldened. They announced the biggest ever exercise on planet Earth. And you see our stature of our weapons and Chinese military might has been brought to dust because of you and your incompetent man. You have to answer that. That is possibly his discussion with General Zhang is going to be on that. Now, after that, where are you going to deliver the Gwadar airport? Where are you going to deliver the Gwadar seaport? And what happened to 𝗎𝗏𝗏𝗏? You promised all of this on the 𝗎𝗏𝗏𝗏. And how are we planning to revamp and rebuild the Chinese-Pakistani joint military infrastructure? That is the task. And how much of that can you do and how much of that you cannot do? And Mr. Munir, we are tired of you because we want our so-called private military contractors protecting our people on the ground. But I wanted to talk to Chinese. Hey, my friend Sir China, he's the biggest private military contractor in the world. He has an army to himself. in Pakistan, army is the only place which has a country to itself. But this man has a complete army, wears a uniform, has a license to kill. There is not a better private military contractor than this. But yeah, he's useless, he's impotent, and he cannot deliver anything. That's a different issue. But he is the biggest, by far, saver the numbers, the private military contractor. Then after that, the Chinese want to say, look, the real reason is to put PLA on the ground. That is what has happened. And remember, when 𝗥𝗘𝗙𝗿 went to Shanghai, doing that handshake with the Xi Jinping and all, they were expecting that time they will announce 𝗪𝗡𝗄 Part 2. Nakko, zero, nothing announced. And here, now 𝗪𝗡𝗄 Part 2 is gone. Now this man thought he will be meeting Xi Jinping, but Xi Jinping dumped him. He didn't. He decided not to meet him. So this is the summary of the 11 points what happened. Now I'll elaborate on 2 points what are very important. Why did it get back? The main bone of contention are 3. Point number 1, 𝗪𝗡𝗄 ROI, 𝗪𝗡𝗄 investments, delayed projects, money not paid to the Chinese company, and where is the road? It got washed away. How do roads get washed away in Pakistan? That's the 1 point. Second and the most important point is, look, Mr. Munir, you are not able to protect Chinese citizens, Chinese interests, and Chinese people in 𝗪𝗡𝗄. Because what happened in Operation 𝗏𝗏, sir, the BLF could block the entire Balochistan for 72 hours. They burned all the heavy machinery which was doing road building of Chinese. They thrashed all the Pakistani contractors who were working for China, and they threatened them, if you come here next time, you are not going to walk away from this. And before that, BLA, 2 days before that, BLA, I can't remember the name of the place, there's a tri-junction which connects 𝗪𝗡𝗄 to the rest of the Pakistan. BLA blocked that for another 2 days or 48 hours. Now, first Chinese used to work 3 shifts there. Morning, night, and the morning, after late afternoon, and a night. First Pakistanis told them, no, night shift is not safe. Chinese, okay, forget night shift. They say, okay, second shift is not safe. Maybe, we pull it from 10 to 6 kind of a thing. Now, even in that 10 to 6 kind of a shift, Chinese and Chinese contractors are not safe. Chinese men are not safe. And China is irked because of 2 reasons. Forget those 9 engineers and all. The main reason why China got pissed off with Pakistan, remember she said there was 2 Chinese people in a van or a car outside Lahore or Peshawar airport. I think Karachi or Lahore, when a bike rammed into them and they gone. Now one of the persons who was disguised.
That was a very precision strike, because I think they got not 1 but 2 or something like that.
2,
right?
One of them was a very high ranking of PLA, officer of PLA. He was disguised as an engineer, sent in the cover of an engineer. So he wanted to do what is the assessment of Chinese army if they want to take over the region. How much can Chinese army? Because you see, Chinese army is very scared. They're timid. They can't fight a war. They have lost everything what they have. They have no military experience. So this man was going as a disguise of an engineer and to see how viable it is. But somebody tipped the Balochis, and Balochis did what they are good at. Now after that, there's a dissonance between China and Pakistan. They believe somebody from the Pakistani army tipped Balochis, but there's a substantial contingent of the army which has Balochis, which has Pathans, and these both Balochis and Pathans don't like Asim Munir and his boys. So maybe somebody from the inner quadri tipped Balochis, and they exactly attacked and killed that man. Now the problem with China is they're sulking with that wound. They have lost a big shot general. I don't know who the hell he was, but somebody very, very big up there, and they cannot even claim it. They cannot admit it. It's like some Qasim Soleimani going in a disguise and getting killed. Somebody somewhere in Europe. So they cannot fathom this thought and they still believe that somebody leaked the information. After that, there was a crackdown on Balochis, there was a crackdown on Pathans. Now, if you look at BLA, if you look at BLF, if you look at BRAS, and if you look at Tehreek-e-Taliban, everybody is squeezing Munir. And what was the last bet of Munir? The last bet of Munir was, come, I'll give you a Ricodec, I'll give you the mineral, I'll give you the access, you will be the king again, and you give me money in return. Now, somewhere down the line, Chinese know that is not happening, that is not going to happen. China is worried about my 𝗪𝗡𝗄 doesn't work, my BRI doesn't complete. Now, what did China do? China already went to Afghanistan. They extended the BRI to Afghanistan, thinking that the 𝗪𝗡𝗄 will not work. So my backup will be I will use Afghanistan to go into there. But are they sure with Afghans? No. Have Pakistanis got Afghans killed in? Have Pakistanis got Chinese killed in Afghanistan? Yes. Who is sure about Afghanistan? Nobody. So China is in a very typical quagmire. They don't know what to do. And Pakistan was pushing and announced the 𝗪𝗡𝗄 Part 2. They said, buddy, nothing is happening. And the reason of summoning him is you call himself the military man. You call himself the 𝗥𝗘𝗙𝗥𝗏. You call himself the big boy of Pakistan. protection of Chinese national and Chinese interests and Chinese contractors and their Pakistani subcontractors and their equipment is your key. And if you are not able to protect that, you're gone. And what the Balochis have been doing in all these, when they take over a territory, BLF, BLA, whoever, what do? They burn these trucks. They burn these heavy machinery, because these are the tools by the virtue of which these roads, building, mining and all can be done. Because they very firmly believe needle is the Pakistani army, the plunger which is sucking the blood is China. And remember, Majid, this BLA has a Majid brigade, and within Majid brigade, she said, you remember, there's a one specialized brigade which only hunts and kills Chinese. They hunt and kill out only Chinese only. So now China is very scared. They don't know where to go. And looking at what has happened, and I was always right, looking at what happened in Pakistan, a lot of countries in Africa, what we discussed in our endgame China, have started copying the same model. So these people are in a transit. This Pakistani model is getting replicated. Whenever they go to a country, they want to ask money in Africa, a few hundred people turn up, breed them black and blue, kill a few Chinese, and they go away. And they say, where is the money? And when they start talking to Munir, he said, how can I protect you, man? I lost my 20 men, I lost my 50 men. And let's not forget, Operation Bomb, he lost officially 51 men, and more than 50 men were critically injured. And one of the very recent incidents, 18, 19 people killed, including an army major. So what does Munir throw? Munir throws, I have lost this man. I can't protect yourself. How to protect your interests? And China says, you have taken so much of money from us. We want you to deliver. That is one point of contention. So Chinese national, 𝗍𝗫, security, RIO, development, money, that is going to be a big mess with Munir. That is what he was summoned, and he did not beat it. Second point is Operation Sindhu. Now China has really got a bad nose, bloody nose. Chinese weapons are the talk of the town. Everybody is talking of the Chinese weapons. And whatever they try to do with Shaheen, they try to, some people say they try to change the propulsion system of Shaheen. And I think a couple of days back, there is a wreckage of Shaheen which was found in Balochistan. I think they tried to fire a missile with some enhanced features and all. The missile crashed. Now China talks to me, you come for missiles, you come for drones, you come from tanks, you come for intel, you bloody come for everything. And you idiot is not able to deliver on everything. And because of you, our Bedu got jammed. Because of you, our telemetry data going to our missiles was jammed by India. We lost JF-17s, we lost PL-15s, we lost our repute, we lost HQ-9s, we lost everything. And India is every day climbing up the stature diplomatically, militarily, and with the retest testing of Akash Prime. She said, if you have noticed that was 15,000 feet over Ladakh, where for the first time, there is no country in the world which has first time defined and verified hit two targets at 15,000 feet. So we have the technology which can take out those quadcopters, helicopters, cruise missiles, even at 15,000 feet, where other efficiencies lose efficiency, where other systems lose efficiency by around 40%. HQ-19 claims that, but practically there is no test which validates that. So now with India opening now the Naomi Air Base, now this Akash Prime, and a lot of things which India is doing, now China is really feeling the feet, because diplomatically India is winning, militarily they are ahead. World over, India has a much better stand, and Pakistan and China is seen as a buddy of a rogue nation called Pakistan. China is seen with rogue countries like Pakistan. China, and what you rightly say, with all the bloody losers of the world, one of them is Pakistan. So what has China got? And if you look at the people within China, they're questioning the Communist Party. What the hell have we got out of it? We got nothing out of it. Why are you still tagging around with Pakistan? You want to give them J-35s, you want to give them XYZ, you want to give them DF-17, you want to give them everything on earth, but is Pakistan able to deliver? And China cannot fathom one thought. They, along with Pakistan, along with possibly Iran, and with Azerbaijan and Turkey, they tried to attack India, but still they were whacked. And the person who promised them sun, earth, and the moon was this failed Field Marshal. You have support me, I'm going to do this, because I still believe Pahalgam could have not happened without the consent from China. China gave the consent, and Pahalgam happened. So now when this happened, the failed Field Marshal is not able to deliver. And on the top of that, China is losing credibility, money, stature, and their weapons, and everything is getting failed. And their association with Pakistan was that of a rogue state. And that is why you remember, Sree sir, when Dr. Jaishankar was there, just one day before that, Shahbaz came and said, look, I'm not going to use the nuclear bomb. We don't have this nuclear bomb. We don't want to use it. And I'm seriously contemplating and asking one question, is Pakistan still nuclear? Because when I look at all the things and all the posturing of Pakistan and America jointly together, I still believe, I have my doubt, are they nuclear or not, but their nuclear capability or their nuclear arsenal is being substantially dented. That is what I feel about Pakistan. That is what I think about Pakistan. And that is exactly what is going to happen here. So China is going sick and tired of this man. He has to come and deliver something credible on the ground. If he does not deliver something credible on the ground, then it's story over. Sorry, Mr. Munir, we don't need you anymore because tu kisi kaam ka nahi. Because you are of no use to us. Why should we keep on paying you and why should we keep on covering your tracks? That's my take on it.
Thank you so much, Sumit. By mistake, I said Amir instead of Asim Munir. I regret that. I kind of combined the two words into one. So it's Asim Munir that I meant at the beginning. Now let's take a look at US-Pakistan deal or misdeed. I thought the US was only dealing with the big boys. What is this new deal with Pakistan, Sumit?
Kya batao? You know, when I talk of Pakistan deal, the first thing I do is when you talk of a deal and, you know, talk of big or deal. You know, person like me gets excited, you know, oh, what's the deal? I start looking into the numbers. And the number I find, Sree sir, is $7.3 billion only. Huh. I think Mr. Iyer will be worth more than that. $7.3 billion. What is America trying to do with somebody who has a trade of $7.3 billion? It is all hogwash. I'll tell you what is happening there. Basically, 2-3 things have happened in the background. So again, there are 3 thoughts here. I'll go to all the 3 and I'll say, where do I stand? First thought is that there's a deal happening. We have called Pakistan and we want to do a deal with them. But if I look at the United States of America and I look at $7.3 billion with at a 29 trillion economy, I think this is not even pocket change. It's not even mentioning. And that should be the least of concern of America. And America doesn't even want to be seen cutting deals with people over $7.3 billion of trade. Now, if you look what America is doing, America is not even talking about the deal. This tom-tomming about the deal is done by Pakistan and the Pakistani media and the stooges of Pakistan in the United States. Deal kar rahe. That's what it is being done. America does not talk about the deal because it is too much of a number. I mean, I don't know how much does it cost for a Donald Trump to fly in a year. Maybe this money is more than that. Anyway, that's not the point here. Second thing is, the second school of thought is that Munir was in Beijing, which I told you he was summoned because he was supposed to be in Indonesia and Sri Lanka. He cancelled that, so he was summoned. And now this 𝗟𝗡𝗥, who is the foreign minister, and the deputy prime minister, they are trying to balance out each other. I don't agree to that because the interests are different. There's a supreme conflict of interest here. Why it is, I'm going to come to that. What is the third reason? The third reason is that 𝗟𝗡𝗥 was summoned again by America. Why? Why does America need a low-grade jihadi like 𝗟𝗡𝗥? I'll tell you why. When he went there, Pakistanis are telling you we went there for a trade deal. America is okay. Second, people are saying, oh, compete, balance. You see, some of our people have to get out of this thought process of balancing. There is no hyphenation between America and China, and Pakistan is not a power which has to balance between the two. Pakistan is a cheap janitor, you know, which they use for cleaning their dirty job. That's what Pakistan is. So let's not talk of balance. Balance is used by big powers who balance themselves, not those fly-by-night janitors or those, you know, third-rate jihadis, what I call them. Now, why is he there? Because when 𝗟𝗡𝗥 ended up there, he started echoing the line. It is President Donald Trump, it is Marco Rubio, it's the mighty America, and some other friendly countries which helped to broke the peace between India and Pakistan. Otherwise, the region was on the brink of explosion. So he is trying to exactly tom-tom what Trump is trying to sell hard. Trump has told this 25 times. But still, people, it is not cutting ice. Now, Donald Trump is frustrated with Marco Rubio saying, look, buddy, it is not working out. So what America has been doing, America has been asking earlier. Earlier, Trump will make a statement and 𝗟𝗡𝗥 will make a statement here. Somebody will make a statement, then the Asim Munir will make a statement here. But finally, you got the Deputy Prime Minister of Pakistan and the Foreign Minister of Pakistan, who is one person, 𝗟𝗡𝗥, you make him sit, you make him stand here. Chal, shoo, ball. And he started saying, oh, thank you, you saved us. There could be this war, there could be that war, there could be that war. So why does America need that 𝗟𝗡𝗥 to go there and say? Because now it's like, I'll hear from the horse's mouth. So that testimony adds to what Trump has been trying to sell hard for 25 times. Now, why is Trump trying to sell hard? Look, Russia-Ukraine deal, you know, ceasefire not happening. Trump is going on the rampage. There is this Cambodia, Thailand, which has started. Forget that, that's not a part of the agenda. Now, Iran, Israel is simmering. We all know that. ceasefire with Hamas, Sree sir, is yesterday officially broken. Steve Witkoff, after going all the dhakka, what we say in the dhakka khana, after kind of rubbing his heels in the Middle East for months and months, he's back and he says Hamas is deceitful, Hamas is suicidal, and Hamas cannot be believed. They are not coming with the intention to negotiate. And exactly what we have been telling him, Mr. Steve Witkoff, that is typically called al-taqiyya, one word, al-taqiyya. So all the people in the Middle East have been taking you for a ride. They think you're stupid, you're an idiot, you don't understand Islam. That is why they take you for a ride. And all your buddies and friends like Qatar, like Egyptians, like I think UAE or somebody else is there. They are all taking you for a ride. They are all giving you, for example, Qatar. Qatar is hosting Hamas, and Qatar is also doing the peace talks with Hamas. So Qatar is also funding all the terrorist organizations in the world, and Qatar is the biggest broker of peace in the world. So in Qatar you have the CENTCOM, in Qatar you have 𝗟𝗏𝗡𝗏 also. So what do you want to talk to me about Qatar? So even I told you last time that the American president wanted to put all his buddies, so-called buddies in US to test how many of them are with us. Now after a lot of deliberation and all, they said, look, this is not working. These people are lying. They are here to trick us. Why Hamas is not doing the ceasefire? I'll tell you. It is believed that they don't even have 10 hostages alive. And even if they are alive, they are in a plight where they are worse than zombies. They are literally walking dead. So if these people come out, even if they are alive, looking at their condition, it will give Benjamin Netanyahu and Trump every reasonable reason to go and destroy Hamas. So they don't want that fiasco to happen because they have been all lying and all their so-called partners in Middle East have been leading them the garden path. Hamas rejected the ceasefire twice. And yesterday, after Steve Witkoff's statement, Trump said, if they want to die, I can't stop it. Israel will finish the job. So Israel is given a complete license signed by Donald Trump, go and take out Hamas. What happened? My information says 7 of the Hamas leaders, before this happened, they have already fled out of, this Rafah, where they are held. Rafah, by the help of their friendly allies, and they are in Qatar or Egypt, somewhere they have fled. Now, Israel has to go into Rafah. It's a matter of time. They have deployed their tanks. When they breach Rafah, it will be the biggest ever war Israel has got into urban warfare. There will be a lot of blood which will be spent. Israel will eliminate Hamas. Hamas will be over, but will Hamas will die? No. Israel will eliminate Hamas. Hamas will be over as a political power, as a people who had the political power to be in the power. But Hamas as a jihadi brand will still exist. And somebody, Yahya Sanawar, Mohammad Sanawar, Ye Sanawar, Wo Abdullah, Ye Ansarullah, somebody is like a phoenix rising from ashes. Somebody will rise again and it will start again. But what does Israel want? Israel wants to finish the job. He wants to finish the job right now. Trump has given that job. So Hamas, Israel, ceasefire is not happening. There is a very difficult humanitarian crisis brewing in Gaza, which is true. And some people say some matter of weeks, it will reach the level of Somalia. The famine might reach the level of Somalia. That's what some people claim. I don't know how far it is true, but I'm saying allegedly some people claim that. So with that situation, the ignition points of Middle East, what are the ignition points? Yemen, Lebanon, and you have this Syria. They will be all simmering harder. Now, Iran will be put to test. What exactly do you want to do? Now, if Iran is put in test, Iran might go ballistic. So if Iran goes ballistic, they will need somebody, they will need one more assurance from Pakistan, you will not help Iran if we need to tackle Iran. Because as you know, America is running low on ammunition, maybe 8 days, 10 days, and then you have to go nuclear. So whatever you have to do, you have to finish in a couple of days. So you want to make sure Pakistan is not there. So you have to make sure Pakistan doesn't help Iran. And you have to make sure nobody intervenes in that war. So that is the reason Trump wants to hang on to something which has happened in the past. You know, you can't go and change the past. I say the ceasefire is done. Now, it was done by their DGMO begging to us, their Pakistanis begging to us, we did the ceasefire. But as it has happened, I can change the narration. I can always say, look, I called Pakistanis or I called Modi ji and I did the ceasefire. Because of me, the ceasefire happened. No, how the hell you can go back into the history and validate that? And Trump wants to keep on striking on one point. It is still the mighty America who controls the thing. It is still the American narrative. It is still the America who will decide who will fight, who will win, and who will cease fire, and who will keep the weapons down, and who will pick the weapons. And we are controlling the shots. While in that case, that is not true. It is not happening. Now, because you don't have an external victory, your internal things are not looking too great. Your big bill has put a couple of $1 trillion of more debt on the American exchequer, and the dollar is doing great, but it's not all the best. None of your trade deals have happened. So there's one achievement which you want to latch onto it by any means, and by latching onto that means you need a Jadi, you need a third-rate Jadi like Ishaq to come and stand and do your betting and speak for you. You need a cheerleader. So what is Ishaq? When you have IPL matches, are those girls which are the cheerleaders. So he's a political cheerleader. So Ishaq is the political cheerleader which was called by Americans to kind of say their thing. And the most important agenda at work is as follows, which you have to realize, friends. The most important agenda at the work is Chinese weapons got whacked, done. Turkish weapons got whacked, done. Possibly Iran Shahid drones, done. Pakistani weapons, of course, whatever that got done. There is one more country which nobody is talking about, but I believe it's Iran or Qatar finding them. But then with it, there's something else who got hit, and who got hit very hard. And the people who got hit very hard is the American war machine. Now, according to Air Marshal Bharati, couple of high-tech planes are down, but J-10 and J-17 cannot be high-tech. Trump himself says 5 planes were shot down. Shot down is when they were shot down in the air. No, plane can be damaged on the tarmac. You can have a loss in the tarmac. When the places somebody comes and bombs, you can lose a wing. That can be a loss. But shot down means when you are in the air, then you are brought down. And if you go by any intelligence, and most of the intelligence of the world, they said Pakistan lost 4 to 5 planes. And if you look at the Trump's number, 4 to 5. So possibly Pakistan's 4 to 5 planes got shot down. People say 3 are F-16s, 2 are Chinese made, or 2 are this and 3 are Chinese made, whichever. It can be other way around. Now here, what is our position? Pakistan says I have brought down 8 Indian jets. If you had brought down 8 Indian jets, then the number will be 8 plus 5. How much? Will be 12, 13. The number is only 4 to 5. Shot down. You never said you shot down. You don't have an image. You don't have a picture. China doesn't have an image. And 𝗤𝗏 challenge you, show me one image. You don't have a picture. All the pilots came said, yes, there might be losses. A plane is parked at a tarmac, friendly fire, EW mismatch, something like that could have happened. But you never shot down a plane. What you have got. Now, Trump also wants to protect the American military industry in a way. And Trump also wants to break shit down. It is that I got the ceasefire done. Otherwise, if the war would have continued for something long, you might have lost a couple of more F-16s. And if you lose a couple of more F-16s, a couple of more 𝗏𝗏𝗏 𝗏 radars, you have to revamp the whole company. And possibly, there was some American arsenal somewhere which got hit also. There was some radiation leaks, contamination which happened. Now, if you look at the latest satellite imagery of the hitting of the Karana Hill, I'm 99% sure the site is contaminated, but nobody is acknowledging that. So rather than, what is the bigger game plan, friends? The bigger game plan is, you don't want to give Indian military the credit of doing what? You don't want to recognize the power of the Indian military where they whacked a joint venture of 2 rogue nations, 2 rogue nuclear nations. One is China, second is People's Republic of China, second is Pakistan, along with Azerbaijan, along with Turkey, possibly along with Iran, along with American F-16s, and along with American 𝗏𝗏𝗏 𝗏𝗏 radars and some more equipment which was given to America, which was given to Pakistan as a form of military aid. So when possibly we're talking of 5 to 6 countries here. So when these countries get whacked out, you don't want how to control it. So, and what you have been fighting, Mr. Trump, you have been fighting, let's say these Haqqanis and all in Saudi, and Afghanistan, what do we have? AK-47s, RPGs, mortars, nothing beyond that. If Israel fights people, what do they have? Again, something like that. But these countries are high-tech. They have believed to have weapons. They have believed to have state-of-art weapons. We were up against 4 to 5 countries and weapons of 6 countries. Still, we managed to steal the show. So what do you want? You want to tone down the victory of the Indian army. You want to dilute it. You want to smoke screen it by saying, oh, there was a ceasefire. No, you did not really. When you did not whack Pakistan, you did not whack the joint venture. Yeah, there was a ceasefire. Yeah, we did the ceasefire. And that is why we did the ceasefire. That is why the war stopped. But that is untrue because you are reluctant to admit the valor of the Indian army. You are reluctant to admit the biggest ever win of India, which was against 4 countries, 5th unclosed country, and the arms of the 6th country, which is United States of America. You are willing not to accept how many F-16s were down. If you know 5 planes were shot down, tell us which make. Tell us which country launched how many planes. And what happened when you try to counter Pakistan, the side wing of the Pakistan, which is 10 Janpaths, starts coming up. You have Rahul Gandhi coming up, you have Jairam Ramesh coming up, all of them coming up. So basically what 𝗏𝗏𝗏 is doing is trying to resonate, is trying to be the Joseph Goebbels for Trump, he's trying to just repeat what Trump has been saying for 25 times, trying to say how Pakistan, it's because of the ceasefire the war was stopped, otherwise the reason would have blown up. But you are not admitting you got whacked. You are not admitting your airfields cannot still have up and running runways. You are not admitting what happened on the Caranail. You are not admitting that 4 countries, 5th unknown country, and the weapons from 6th country, we whacked all the 6 and we dismantled you in 72 hours. This is what you are admitting to whack. You are trying to tone down this victory. You are trying to smoke screen this victory. You are trying to dilute this victory. That is what your agenda is. You still want to control the narrative. You still want to control the ethos. You are saying we are telling what the world will happen. You will decide when the war will happen. You will decide when the war will end, and you will decide who will do the ceasefire. You will do all the talking. You will do all the talking. Because you are America. That is what the myth you want to say. But you are worried that the people from Asia and especially India is rising to a level where you don't know how to control them, and it's a matter of time. China might be your problem today. India is going to be your ultimately problem in some point of time. But the difference between China and us is we are a democracy. We are not interested in land, legitimacy, and supremacy. That is the case. But this is constantly which is being done. And the most important thing, which I seriously am doubting, I've raised this on PGurus, other channels. I've raised this on national TV also. Can somebody tell me, is Pakistan still a nuclear power? Can somebody tell me the Pakistan's nuclear capability of hitting was maybe 100? Is it 80, 90, or is it back to 10? Or is it back to 0? I don't know. These are the things, because if I look at Trump's all the statements, I will tell you one striking similarity. It is within a frame of 60 seconds. He said, Pakistan, great nuclear power, big nuclear power. Why is Trump trying to give nuclear power certificates to Pakistan? Why within a frame of 60 seconds you are trying to do it? Because I know, Mr. Trump, because if you say in a very short frame, it is very difficult to edit out. Everybody will play that video, and that video can't be edited out. So you are trying to give an impression Pakistan is a mighty nuclear power, because you know if Pakistan is nobody, we will, you know, we will how to say, I will press Pakistan like an insect under my thumb. Will exactly dismantle Pakistan like that. And your money, your country, which your CIA has invested in last 50, 60 years in Pakistan, 60 years CIA has been investing money. You have been giving them military aid, you have been giving them intel, all that money, all that effort, and all that is down the drain. So you are in a way protecting what you have been doing, and you still want to tell us that this cup is the atom bomb. That is what you want to say. Oh, this is the atom bomb. They're very powerful. They're nuclear. Next time it might hit the nuclear button. I want to ask Mr. Trump, when Modi ji, 𝗤𝗙𝗫𝗏 and Mr. General Chauhan and General Rahul Singh ji, they never said even and we reach anywhere near to nuclear. And even on record, Shahbaz Sharif said never we have reached anywhere near to nuclear. How does Trump get this impression that a nuclear war was imminent? What is the reason? There is imaginary, there is no data, there is nothing which even remotely suggests that we were near to a nuclear fiasco. So how do you know we are to a nuclear fiasco? Because you want to keep the ghost of Pakistan alive. You want to keep the Dracula of Pakistan alive. You want the Dracula to rise from the ashes. You're just pouring a little bit of blood in the blood pit, so the from ashes Dracula will rise again. But your good buddy Pakistan stands dismantled. So you want to still keep that scarecrow of Pakistan alive. That is my assessment why they are also going there. And there's nothing called business deal. Let's not kid ourselves. $7.3 billion means nothing to United States of America, if I'm not wrong. Then we'll go to the next topic. Ji, sir.
Yeah, a couple of things about 𝗤𝗏 itself. From reliable sources, I'm hearing that, it is on pause, but what had happened was that India's Raksha Mantri or Defense Minister, Rajnath Singh, had actually given the command to the Indian Navy to dismantle the Navy of Pakistan completely and break it up. The thing was, it was overridden by Prime Minister Modi, who was hoping to get some brownie points. And I think he has not got any brownie points from United States for doing that. Because the free trade deal is still hung. It is hung at the same point. It's not changing. So except 1% here, 1% there, it's not really changed. So I really don't know why India had to do that. See, normally this thing, viewers, that when ceasefire is announced, there'll be like 3 hours, 4 hours, it will take before it actually settles, because they'll say, oh, the last soldier on the battleground has to be notified. Unless he knows, he'll just keep on firing. This is a bahana. This is a ruse to try and get the best out of it as far as, land, arrangements, or if you want to get some strategic outposts and things of that nature. India did nothing of that sort. On top of that, Pakistan fired the heck out of India on that day on the line of control and international border. Heaviest firing that you saw. So somewhere I'm seeing some, half-done kind of a feeling, especially with India, because now, having shown their prowess, having shown their strength, there is no element of surprise. When these rascals, these Munirs, they'll come back. Because, see, it's cheap money, guys. It's cheap money. It is the laboratory where China can test their war equipment all day long. And for that, and their people won't die. It will be the Pakistanis who will die. Right? And the other interesting thing that I'm hearing, Sumiji, is that there were missiles directed at Gujarat's industrial complex. Like, for example, the refineries and other things. Even those were shot down by India. That's when India got really angry and said, we take out their military stuff and they keep hitting our civilian stuff. We're going to, break these things up. So that part, now that the element of surprise is over, it will be harder for India to go in and do it. I don't know. This feels gale mein atak raha hai, it's sticking here. Why did India not do that? Clear instinct. Finish it off. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say. Let's go to the next topic. We have two topics left. 5 minutes, Sergi, because we're already 36 minutes into the program. Europe exploding and Dublin nightmare. Over to you.
Now, there are two things here. Donald Trump has landed in Scotland. And, for the sake of the viewers, his mother was Scottish. Father was Scottish. They migrated to America. So he still has a couple of golf estates there. He has a couple of golf properties there. And a lot of people are saying, oh, he landed there because it's his own money. He's misusing American taxpayers' money and all. But what the Trump says, he's going to inaugurate one more golf estate or one more golf property there and dedicate it to his mother. And now he'll be meeting Keir Starmer. When he'll be meeting Keir Starmer, and is basically to work out the strategy after signing off the deal. And there is also a talk of that, they might be looking at meeting Ursula von der Leyen. But again, that is still not confirmed. Some people are claiming, some people are not claiming. But his meeting with Keir Starmer is done. So will he be meeting Ursula von der Leyen or not? We don't know. That is what something to be seen. And I think nothing happened between Chinese and Europeans. What we had projected, that nothing is going to happen from there. They will be back with empty hands. Now, so that is here. Now, Trump, while landing up in Europe, he said something very interesting. So that is what the report is about. That is what the trip is about. But what did Trump say? Trump said, look, guys, Europe is under invasion. The immigrants are killing you. The immigrants are distorting you. And if you don't do anything about you will lose the Europe you know and you have. There will be no Europe. He was very clear that. I looked at the population of the Europe, around 740 million people. And I looked at the immigrants, 87 million people. 11% of the European population is made of immigrants, and around 3 to 5 million people, roughly there, are illegal immigrants over there. That is the last number we have. Now, he said, look, what happened to my country? There were immigrants in. Havoc happened. There was a lot of trouble in America. But last month, nobody has entered my country. I have sealed my borders. I have done everything. I have deported thousands of people. And if you don't kind of get into a very aggressive mode, Europe will be war. And if I look at it, I've been saying for 2 years, the biggest problem of Europe is Islamization. Islamization will finish Europe before they know what has happened to them. You remember that island of Lampedusa, wherein the island had a problem of 6,000 and 7,000 people from Tunisia, and somebody landed in a couple of boats. So that problem is happening. Trump has told Europe, you have to get together. And when I look at European Union, it's that what we call in Hindu, 𝗤𝗏𝗡𝗏 ka pitara. When somebody from here, everybody has conflicting interests. They've all lost it. I don't know what they were doing in China. We're discussing on the last episode. She said they went to China where they have a $350 billion of trade deficit, and they're not willing to talk with America where they have a trade surplus. So it's something which is oxymoronic to think. But these people, I don't know who's on China's payroll, who's not. And Macron is talking of cohesive measures. And yesterday, Macron did something interesting. He said, I am recognizing the state of Palestine. You know what did Trump say? Trump said Macron is a good guy, good boy, but he's a very lightweight. It wasn't halka. It doesn't matter what you say. So he insulted Macron yesterday. So I don't know where does Macron get this illusion that he will recognize state of Palestine. And he says, by September, or we're going to do formalize this and all. But I think my assessment is by 15th of August, Gaza, whatever Israel has to do will be done. They will have to breach Rafah. After they breach Rafah, it's all done. Now, this is what Macron has been saying. So he's been warning them, if you don't wake up, there'll be no Europe. So Europe is basically exploding. Europe, the immigrants are coming, illegals, and a lot of Islamization of Europe is happening. And remember last time what happened in France? The chief rabbi of Jewish community, he said that for 1% Jewish population of France, living with 90% Christian-dominated France, it is not safe because of the 10% Muslims of France. So this is also what it's on the open forum. Everybody can go and check it. This is what the rabbi said. So problem here is that Europe is breaking. Europe is aging. The industrial output is down. The CPI is down. The purchase managers index is down. Factory outputs are out. Economies are growing at a very slow rate, 1%, 0.5%. And NATO wants you to give 5% for your defense. And the countries like Croatia and the smaller ones, they're completely devastated by China. Still, the people of the European Union were doing in China and trying to celebrate their 50 years of diplomacy and trying to do some business with China. And they were losing $350 billion as a bloc. So that is where Europe is. So Europe is completely lost. I think nobody understands. And these are the same people who have imposed sanctions on us, on Iran energy. And they keep on buying the Russian oil and all. That's not a problem for them. So Trump's warning was there. And let's come to the Dublin. Now, Dublin, something very fearful is happening. Yesterday or a couple of days back, there was a Indian origin man, 45. He works for a delivery company. And there's a place inside Dublin called 𝗟𝗏. So he went to deliver some deliveries. What is happening? He was attacked by a gang of teenagers. Now these are from 16 to 19, whatever. Now these people stripped him. They pulled down his trouser and they kind of attacked him everywhere. He was from head to toe in blood and left possibly dead to die. Then a brave Irish woman comes, talks to the man, rescues the man, takes him to hospital. But what we are seeing, that what even the Dublin police is kind of saying, it is a hate crime. It is a racial crime, wherein the person was described, or they were trying to fit him in the category of a pedophile. He said, this person is a pedophile, that is why we have attacked him, that is why we are going to do this to him. And the problem is there have been a couple of such attacks which have been happening on Indians, from a 24-year-old man to a couple of younger students. There are a couple of attacks which are on the rise, and every time wherever the attack is happening, this group of teens is involved. And according to the lady who rescued the man, she says that there are a lot of attacks. She has seen 4 or 5 attacks which are not even documented. So the problem here I have is that Indians are being targeted, and Indians have been racially profiled, and they find reasons to attack them. Somebody is called as a pedophile, somebody is called something. And at the end of the day, who ends up taking the brunt is this, kind of our Indian community. Our ambassador there, Mr. Abhishek Mishra, has taken the note of it. This man's family is being spoken to. All the possible help is given to them. And he has notified all the Indian communities within the Ireland about this. He has also been in touch with the Indian government. He has been also in touch with the Irish authorities. And, he has been trying to do with all what he can do within Scotland. Whatever he can do, he's been trying to do. And he also acknowledges that racial profiling of Indians is increasing. Racial attacks against Indians are increasing. And, the attacks are not happening because of any reason. Anybody found on the street, isolated, you may pick him up and start hurting him. A lot of attacks don't get reported. They are just brushed under the carpet because people don't want to get into this. But this man literally survived. He had to be in a hospital. They had done a couple of brain scans. We don't know the extent of the brain damage or there's any damage to the brain. But he really survived. If the woman had not, if that brave woman would have, she's again Irish, if that brave woman would have not stopped, unfortunately the man would have lost his life, because there are multiple wounds across from his foot and toe, like that painful death which they are trying to give. It's not just, put a bullet or stab somebody, no. And at least we know 5 to 7 attacks, sir, which have been happened, and they're happening across campuses. They're happening on the street. They're happening in the neighborhoods. They're happening everywhere. And somehow Indians are being targeted, and Indian community especially is being put here. So I think it's time for the government of India to intervene. I think Mr. Abhishek Mishra, our ambassador there, is doing his best. But I think if Dr. Jaishankar can put in a word and, he can talk to his counterparts there, things might happen. The empathy here is Dublin police acknowledges that. Dublin police acknowledges that person has nothing to do with pedophiling. The Dublin police acknowledges the gang of the teens which has been carrying a lot of attacks, and Dublin police also acknowledge that these are hate crimes specially directed against Indians. So these four things make it a bit complex. It is not as simple as we might think. It's not a one-off racial attack. It is a racial attack which is very, very targeted against the Indians. And if anything targets against the Indians in Europe, there are a couple of people you think of. You think of ISI, you think of Khalistanis, and you think of some other groups which might be involved or kind of fomenting trouble and trying to get these people worked out. So, and a lot of these attackers are teens, which are in 16, 15, 14. So nothing much can be done under the law of the land there, because they are not at that age, they are not adults. So it's a new system which is created where a couple of teens will come and attack you and literally leave you on naked on a road to die. And if it is your good luck, if somebody stops, trusts you and takes you to the hospital. But this is what has been happening. And if you look at what Trump is trying to tell and what happened in Dublin, I mean, this makes a sense. Now, we don't know who are these kids. We don't know who are these teens. Are they locals? Are they immigrants? Or are they, kind of those illegal immigrants? But if I look at UK and all, most of these crimes, these crimes against the women and crimes against, what do you call them? There's a name given to them. UK mein jo hota hai, what do we call that? When they're targeting these young white girls.
Grooming gangs.
Grooming gangs. Now we know grooming gangs are all Pakistani. Recently, one lady, I was somewhere in Scotland, got raped by an Afghan immigrant. He put a knife on her and left her in a lift. I mean, even we have seen, I keep on getting all these things daily. But, crime is crime, but this is very targeted crime against Indians. I hope the story ends here. It doesn't go beyond Dublin. It doesn't go to the other parts of Europe. If it grows, it is getting a bit difficult, because even my last sentence is I was looking at one interesting development, she said. Now, 70 to 80% of the visas of Indian students going to American universities are down because either you are not applying or you are not getting the visa. Second thing, now that transit period between your degree to find a job, what we got internship and all, that period is being brought down or might be cut off. I was reading something very interesting yesterday, or yesterday. There's a talk that even when you are on a H-1B visa, let's say you lose a job. Now they were given from 6 months or so for you to find a new job. Now that period might be reduced to a few weeks, or it might be taken off completely. So which means that you are studying, then after studying, staying back, and even if you get a job, then to continue with the job becomes very difficult. Let's say it is 2 or 3 weeks. Now, if you have bought a house, if you have a mortgage, you have a car, you have everything. Now, how the hell can you find another job in 2 or 3 weeks? And if you're not able to find the jobs, you have to leave the country. If you leave the country, what happens to your investments within the country? The bank is going to come and take everything out of you. So all your money which you put in there, your personal money, is gone down the drain. So I think the rules are being changed in US, wherein you may not want to have a lot of immigrants, wherein you may not want to have a lot of, kind of Indians going there. But if I look at our FTA with the UK, it opens ways for a lot of our professionals, white-collared, blue-collared workers, a lot of our people to go to UK and get a living there. But here, if I study America, I'm seeing a reverse trend. And if I see what is happening in Dublin, I'm very worried what is happening in Dublin and, this part of the world. Let's hope this is a local problem. This is not a thing which spreads and goes out of the control, because when I remember Leicester, still a chill goes down my spine. I don't want something like Leicester to happen. Sir.
Thank you so much, sir. And let's take a few questions. We have another back-to-back program with 𝗥𝗘𝗙𝗪 𝗢𝗪𝗔 about breaking events, hot news in India's politics. Let's take some questions now. Mangat Rangao. Namaste. Will the Indian-UK trade deal influence the India-Europe trade issues? Europe cannot be allowed to remain in its colonial mindset. India is not their colony anymore. Sir.
Absolutely, sir. Because if the UK trade deal is that is testimony to the fact. And by the way, Ranga sir, we've been trying to, this Europe trade deal, we have been trying to negotiate for the last 16 years. And it is still, kind of, I don't know what is happening, because even if I quote Trump, he was asked specifically, what do you think, what are the chances of US-Europe trade deal? And Trump says it's 50-50 or less than that, 25%. So even Trump, I don't know, I find Europe very oxymoronic. You don't want to deal with the India, with the world's oldest democracy and the largest democracy, but you all want to go to Beijing and try to 𝗔𝗍 Jinping with a trade deficit of $350 billion, which in the last 9 years has doubled. Where the hell does it make sense unless until you are on China's payroll? That's the only thing when it makes sense.
Next question, please. John Dye wants to know, China wasted billions on Pakistan? Yes. B as in uppercase B? Yes.
Absolutely, you're bang on. And now they are losing their life.
Next one, please. Rajaraman wants to know, if US sanctions Bharat, what will happen to Bharat UK FTA deal? They are separate. I don't think there's going to be any.
In fact, I don't think US can ever afford to sanction Bharat. I think a lot of people are talking out of their head. They've lost their mind. Even I was surprised when General Ruth was talking yesterday, the head of NATO. There'll be secondary sanctions of India. I said, hey, buddy, when did you enter politics? When I last you were wearing a uniform, you were trying to do the military stuff. When did you start threatening Bharat? I don't know. कोई भी आजकल बोल देता. Anybody says.
Sorry. �爾𝗡𝗻 wants to know, how do you change the attitude of Muizu? Will it change the attitude of average Indians towards Maldives? I don't think so.
There are two things here. I'll quickly tell you. First of all, we will not change Muizu. We cannot change Muizu because he's a jihadi. First thing. Jihadis don't change. Second thing, the people of India towards Maldives will again not change. But I believe, if you look at the 4,500 crore credit line and all, I believe, that is my hunch, it will come true in some time. And hopefully it always comes. I think we are using Maldives as our frontier, as our military frontier. Maldives is not going to get anything for free. They have to become a military frontier of India if they want to survive in this part of the world. You will come to know we have a similar pact with Sri Lanka. It's a matter of time. You will come to know a similar pact has been worked with Maldives, because we are doing a lot to strengthen our Andaman Nicobar. And similarly, if we are strengthening Andaman Nicobar, we will also use them as our friend, as our 𝗥𝗘𝗙𝗥𝗏, what I want to say. And Maldives has to play the game. There's no option. Nothing comes free.
Kumaraswamy wants to know, recent change of India's stand to relax visa rules for China. Your take on security, tourism, and semiconductor backdoor entry against Western companies on US tax policy?
Sir, the relaxation about China visa is something which I don't appreciate, should have not happened. And again, Xi Jinping is a very dicey character. 2 days back, Trump suddenly announced, I am very soon going to China. And there's a talk that there are a lot of Chinese financial lobbies which are in touch with Kushner, his son-in-law. Is something being worked around them? Is Trump going to soften a few things? Because it happened when the European Union was supposed to be there exactly 1 day after. Trump says, I will go to Beijing very soon. So when I look at your national security document, it says China is your number one national security threat. So what is happening in the world, I fail to understand. And let me also tell you one thing in advance. When Trump is in Beijing, don't be prepared for a big surprise. He might come and tell you very nicely, oh, China and you are the good buddies. China is not a threat to you. It is possible. He can tell you that. He can even trade off some trade routes for China in the return of something. There are we can do a separate program on that. There are 8 or 10 things what China wants from US. And there are 3 or 4 critical things which US wants from China. And by the way, when Ishaq Dar was in US, he said, we are discussing some things, including minerals. कहते हैं ना, एक है अनार यहाँ कितने बीमारियां, ये दिल में किस किस को दूं. It is he is again discussing minerals with them. But तेरे बाप के हैं क्या? So Baloch brothers, now the minerals are being discussed with Americans.
Thank you so much, Sumitji. That brings us to a close of today's program. Please come back for Shekhar Iyer's conversation. And now let's take the blessings of Mahadev.
Thank you very much. We'll be meeting tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. China. And if something else doesn't happen, China will be our talk. On that note, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Bharat Mata ki jai, Vande Mataram, Om Namah Parvati Pataya, Har 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 Mahadev.